Hi everyone, welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I'm Stephen and this is your match preview for Everton's first game of the 2024-25 Premier League season against Brighton and Hove Albion. Of course, the first game ever at Goodison Park as we begin that now final season at our famous stadium before we move on to Bramley Moor Dock this time next year. And yeah, going into this season, I'm slightly more confident than I have been the last couple. Of course, now with a manager at the helm who's been there for a while, he's had one full season now, Sean Dyche. So I'm a bit more confident going into this one. We've made some good, smart signings in the summer transfer window. So yeah, I'm more confident than I was for last season, basically. But still, it's still going to be a tough one, I think. I can't see us, lighting up too many games. Finishing as high as maybe we would have maybe 10-15 years ago, but I am quite confident going into this one, I will be honest. So Brighton, of course, we could have had much easier games going into the beginning of the season. Brighton are a team that have managed to come up into the Premier League. We've said this so many times, come up into the Premier League and they've managed to become a well-established Premier League team, even more so than us at the moment. And of course, whenever they're sort of pushed in the face of adversity, they seem to just go from strength to strength and get better. When a perfect example of that was Roberto De Zerbi replacing Graham Potter. Now, of course, De Zerbi's leaving and they've brought in Fabian Herzl, 31 years old. He's the youngest ever permanent Premier League boss. So I think that's, honestly, I keep telling people they're playing Football Manager in real life. That's been what most people are saying, I think, because they just seem to replace every single star that they lose. McAllister left, Mopé left to us, who was good for them, but they seem to constantly replace these players with these players that are important to them, with even better ones. Mopé played well for them, left, come to us, didn't quite do the exact same, and they managed to replace him with Evan Ferguson, who's really taken the lead now in terms of that team. They won every single pre-season game, Brighton. Couldn't have had a better pre-season, and I think they'll be definitely thinking about that going into this one. A 4-0 win over Villarreal in their last game, which is very impressive when you compare it to our 1-1 draw with Roma. In terms of Everton lineup, I've gone for, I think actually not the exact same, but quite similar to that Roma game. I've gone for Pickford in goal, Ashley Young starting at right back. You'll know my feelings on this one if you saw the Roma post-match reaction video. I mean, to go into the season with 39-year-old Ashley Young playing out of position at right back, I mean, you're pretty much asking for trouble, especially when I think Matoma will start on the left for Brighton. But yeah, I've gone for Young at right back anyway, with of course Seamus Coleman coming off in that final pre-season friendly against Roma. Tarkowski and O'Brien at centre-back. This one's pretty much a given. Jared Branthwaite is still not fit. He did watch the Roma game from the stands last week, so I think that'll be our starting centre-back pairing, but still, you could have much worse in this league, I think. Mikalenko back in at left-back, very happy about that. I've gone for Eric Boonham and Idrissa Gana Gueye in centre midfield. I think Eric Boonham has been fantastic in pre-season, arguably the most impressive player. And I think he'll start this one again. I think he'll start majority of the games this season. And I'm interested to see what he can do in the Premier League now for Everton. Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil on the wings. That's obviously a given again. Another summer signing. Jack Harrison making his another loan move from Leeds United. I think that was a good signing, and I've spoke about that a bit on the channel, and I think he will start the majority of the games again this season. Iliman Ndiaye in at the number 10 position. I've decided to drop Abdoulaye Doucouré, and I think Ndiaye should start this one. Might be a bit too early for Lindstrom when we've got McNeil and Harrison, those established names on the wings. But for me, Ndiaye needs to start there for a little bit of that attacking creativity. And I think if he doesn't, the fans won't be happy. And I think that could be a factor in him starting. We saw the difference that he can make when he come off the bench against Roma. So I'm going to go for Ndiaye and then DCL up front. The likely Brighton lineup, I'm reading from the Sussex Express. Of course, I'm not the most clued up on Brighton and Hove Albion in terms of their team selection. And of course, as I mentioned before, they just seem to replace every single player absolutely fantastically whenever they lose one. So there's a lot of players that you don't hear about that turn up in the team and all of a sudden start making waves in the Premier League. Jason Steele, I think, will start in goal. Bart Verbruggen is injured, so second choice goalkeeper for Brighton in this one. Joel Veltman, Lewis Dunk, Jean-Paul Van Hecke and Carlos Baliba as their back four. Vifa, I think that's how you pronounce it, played for Feyenoord last season, a £25 million signing this summer. I think he will start in midfield alongside James Milner, who actually is only 20 appearances away from being the all-time Premier League appearance maker. So I think he'll start this one, and I think he'll be looking to get those appearances in to overtake Gareth Barry, former Everton player, as the top appearance maker in Premier League history. Yankuba Minteh, João Pedro and Kaoru Mitoma are the front three that I've gone for, of course. Yankuba Minteh, I'll talk about him in a little bit. But yeah, he's definitely an interesting one. In terms of the key Everton player I mentioned before, Tim-Erik Boonum, I think for us last season at times we struggled to really grab a hold of the game in midfield, and we saw that again last week against Roma. Roma started to control the ball in midfield a lot more, got a lot more joy, which resulted in us giving away the first goal. So I think he's going to be a really key player here. His touch and his turn of pace on the ball really do make him an expensive asset for Everton this season. He's probably the best at doing that out of the midfielders available at our disposal. In terms of Gay and Garner, I think he's without a doubt better at getting his foot on the ball and driving forward. So I've gone for him as our key Everton player to watch in this game. And of course, was linked with Everton. The Brighton player I've gone for to watch in this one is Yankuba Minteh. Scored in all but one of Brighton's pre-season games this summer, and I really think he is a top signing for Brighton. One that we were linked with. Not sure where he'd fit into this Everton team. I think Brighton, on the whole, would probably will turn out to have been a better move for him. It goes a bit as the same as Wilfred Gnonto in that. These sort of fast-paced wingers that maybe don't track back as much as the likes of Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil. I think the likes of Lindstrom, Harrison, McNeil are better for us in the long run than the likes of Minteh and Gnonto. Brighton, of course, can afford to play that more expansive football, can afford to take more risks. So a good signing, I think, for Brighton. And of course, he scored in all but one of his pre-season games. I think Yankuba Minteh is the one to watch for Everton in this one. Score prediction, I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for Everton. Staying optimistic in this one. The very last first game at Goodison Park this Saturday, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 win for the Blues. But let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know who you think is the key Everton player to watch in this one. Make sure you like and subscribe to the Toffee Blues, and I'll see you in the next one.